We have heard of the iceberg theory of success, or in other terms, the iceberg illusion. The iceberg illusion teaches us that all people see is the success of someone, which is the tip of the iceberg. But what they do not get to see is the lower half of the iceberg, the one underwater. Now, the lower half of the iceberg underwater comprises of mistakes, persistence, failures, and so forth that a person had to go through in order to achieve success. Now, our guests here on Merge show us the lower half of the icebergs. Listen, you might be a nascent or aspirant entrepreneur looking for your North Star, a guide from those who've walked the journey before, those who dared to start, or you could just be looking to enjoy a good story told by the brave travelers in business. Then join us on Merge, a show about entrepreneurs, innovators, and thought leaders. Because this too could be a start of a journey for you. I'm Teboho Nthoana, and welcome to Merge. Teboho Nthoana used to run a conglomerate called the TM Group. The TM Group operates in ICT, investment, retail, energy, comprising of oil and gas, property, construction, and management consulting sectors. The TM Group was recently acquired by a UK investment firm in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Teboho Nthoana, formerly known as Teboho Mafodi, is a highly experienced and well-respected business executive with over 15 years of senior executive management and operations experience. While still part of the TM Group, Teboho Nthoana is currently setting up a new private equity firm which will be launching before the end of the year. Hello, Teboho. Welcome to Merge.
Hi, Lufua. Thank you for having me. Are you good this morning?
I am very well. I'm very well. Thank you.
Is it? Yeah, I think as a start, it's good for me to commend you on actually doing your very first and own podcast. So it's an exciting time. So what a time to be alive, man.
And this is our very, very first episode.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. I really hope that would do justice to it, and most importantly, I mean, your listeners are able to actually enjoy it, and most importantly, learn from it. You know.
Teboho, thank you. That is the purpose, and hopefully it goes exactly that way.
Yes.
So you have been on your entrepreneurship journey for over 15 years now. So tell us about a time when it all started. How did you get to find yourself on this path?
I mean, for me, it was not by choice. It was more circumstantial than anything, you know. So, because I grew up very disadvantaged, very impoverished. So, and obviously, I mean, going to school, you see other kids that are doing better or that come from better families, you know, that got better access, to this and that. So, I think for me is I just wanted to experience a bit of what they experience or have better. So now, obviously, there was no way that I could have gotten that from home because the situation didn't allow. So I would say, had to create that myself. Because I mean, I actually started entrepreneurship at school. So I was selling sweets and cakes at school. So for me to be able to buy books or let alone school fees, you know. And I think my parents, the last time they paid school fees for me was, I think, early high school. So, because it's very early on that I realized that, you know, the easiest way for me to do was to create this myself. So, because obviously during break, when I was in primary, late primary, and during any high school, they would open the gate, so I would go home to eat. So you'd run home to
Oh,
go have lunch, then from there come back, so
mm,
that obviously other kids don't get to notice or you don't have much.
yeah.
Sometimes it's oja papa,
Mm,
with tea or, whatever. So then
yeah.
from there, and kids are mean, so
I was
the
going
minute
to
they realize,
exactly. I was going to ask about that because I'm thinking uh, during a recess, other kids you play around, and but for you, you are on your business mode. You have to sell sweets. You have to sell whatever it is that
yeah.
you were selling. That couldn't have been easy.
No, no, no. I mean, it wasn't. And for me, it came up from the point of to realize to say, obviously, coming out at 11 to go to, on break. So running home and coming back. Sometimes I come back late. I come back 12,
Mm,
or I come back. So then from there, it doesn't necessarily be able to work in my advantage. So therefore, the easiest thing was therefore to maybe sell at school so that at least I get
right,
to be within the premises of school. And at the same time, I'm able to even have or maybe pack, 2 or 3 packs for me to be able to become my lunch. So
right.
yeah, it was quite interesting time to be in. Like obviously more than anything, I wouldn't say it was really business mode. I think it was more survival. So,
Survival.
yes, because I was raised by a grandfather who was entrepreneurial himself.
Mm,
Um, Having grown up, obviously, while I was staying with him, we were living out of his pension money, and it was not enough.
yeah.
So to compensate or make up, for the surplus, therefore he would sell cold drinks, cigarettes, sweets, and the
Mm,
likes at home.
mm,
So
mm,
therefore, I think for me, when other kids were playing Go Strateng, I couldn't do that. I had to be home selling because
yes.
half of the time he would not be well. He was sick. He had 27 operations.
Yeah.
So I think I almost got that survival from him. So
Mm,
therefore, I just literally took the home survival and brought it from the context of school. So
yeah.
then from there, I worked. I think then there, when then my entrepreneurial training kicked in, it was when I realized to say with one bag, I can only be at one corner. So I cannot be at other corners. So
Uh,
now, and it's not every child that passes where I was. So
right.
therefore, it was me sort of like taking other students like myself that were coming from impoverished background. So now
Right.
having to put on more stock to actually give them bags, it's more like franchising the business to them so that we
Mm-hmm.
hold different corners of the school so that we all get to sell, So, and I would obviously maybe put in so much cakes, extra cakes for them that will be part of their profits or part of what they sell for themselves. And at the end of the day, for every bag that I gave them, I would know how much I'm expecting out of that and how much they would need to take out of that. So then,
Hmm.
therefore, then there was my entrepreneurial stake coming in.
Where it started. So
Yes.
obviously this now profit you were generating at one point now you had to pay for your school fees with that money and to somewhat help at home as well. Was that the case?
Yes, no, 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 definitely. It was for me, it started, with sometimes school will have school trips you can't go because at
Right.
parents at home
Mm.
they cannot afford. You know, you need a particular textbook, you cannot afford it. So
Yes.
sometimes school fees is paid late. So therefore, with the profits, I could manage to pay my school fees, buy whatever textbook that is, let alone pay myself a school
Mm.
trip if ever there is any.
Mm.
So, and sorry, I'd be able to as well help out at home in terms of, buying sasheb
Mm.
or whatever, because we would have, a 2 kg of chicken,
Yeah.
so we'll have that the entire month and
Mm.
like with a wing. I got a wing. It's got two portions. It's got this portion. It's got this drumstick portion. Like
Yes.
literally, that would be cut in half to
Cut
say
yes.
it will be shared between two people, and also it means you're only giving a portion of the meat, not
Yeah.
necessarily. So
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
on good weeks, I'd also be able then to buy meat so that at least one is able to actually have enough, so
Mm.
instead of having a portion of it. So it really helped out
Yeah.
a lot. And obviously, the more I could see the benefits that I could get with this man, I think the more I was inspired to stay in business or even do more.
Mm. So that's quite inspiring. Now, you went on like that up until at one point you had to drop out of high school, if I'm right. You couldn't finish.
Yes, no, I did, like a typical, how we Africans are. You see
Hmm.
somebody else doing that business, we all get into the same business. Have you seen that? So
Right.
now the
Yes.
minute now I was selling at school and stuff, other kids, you know, that sometimes even didn't need to sell, but now they started becoming entrepreneurial as well. Now they were selling better stock than myself because they could afford better. Others would
Yes.
sell toys and they would do this and that.
Right.
It got out of hand. The principal stopped the business and says, "No, no one is no longer allowed to sell. So we're
Yeah.
shutting these small businesses or these small entrepreneurs." So
Right.
therefore, then it was now a question to say, with that, then what does one do?
Uh-huh.
So I was fortunate to say I've always been a leader. So I happened to have been part of my SRC back at school.
Mm-hmm.
So one time, they were doing this pageant, Mr. and Mrs. Etwatwa, or
Mm-hmm.
Mr. and Mrs. whatever. So as part of SRC, I was part of the organizing team. So we were required to go find a DJ for an upcoming pageant that was coming up. So then
Yes.
from there, we went. So this guy came recommended. So we went to him. When we got to this guy, it was the first time seeing a computer so close. Besides when I'm going to the shops to go pay rent or when I'm going to pay at the till point or whatever. So we
Yes.
got to him. He was actually outside washing sneakers. So when he was washing sneakers, I'm hearing this sound coming from his room. Then from I ask him, Hori, can I see the equipment that you're going to be using? Then we walk in, he was using a computer. Strange enough, I was actually fascinated by that, and obviously they couldn't have gone home and said, give us a computer. So I'm
With
sure they
what
would have
money?
slapped me exactly. So,
Yeah.
so therefore, we gave this guy the business, for him to come become the DJ at the pageant. And another thing that helped me, I managed to befriend him so that I can
Mm.
learn and become closer to this thing that fascinated me. Actually, the thing that took me, I think, by surprise, most importantly, was the fact that after that he was playing music. Then
Right.
from the when he was seeing that I was fascinated, then he stopped the music, he started playing movies with it. So, and
Mm-hmm.
I think the one thing that blew me away then, it was when then he realized that I'm very fascinated, then he stopped playing movies, then he started playing TV. I mean, at the time, it was CCTV, there was no
Yes.
SAPC 1, there was no whatever, it was CCTV.
Yeah.
So, then I watched TV on his laptop. Then I think I knew that it was love at first sight.
Yeah.
So I really fell in love, and me befriending this guy. So I managed to learn how to turn on this thing, turn off this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and started to learn, to type and fix them and this and this and that. I'm doing all of that. I'm in high school. So obviously
Right.
now, because I'm no longer selling, now I've got time to do these things,
All right.
and learn. I remember at some point I went to the library, I got this book that was also teaching me how to fix computers and whatsoever. So I would ask him questions because I was always curious, and he was
Yes.
more than willing to answer. And little did I know that that would come, to my rescue at a later stage, because now, fast forward now, when I was in grade 11,
Yes.
I see this vacancy at school. At the time, my grandfather had passed,
Mm.
so the situation was really bad. I mean, it was, I think, 2004.
Mm.
Situation was bad at home. Um, so now this vacancy said they're looking for an IT technician. They must have metric, A
Mm-hmm.
plus, and N plus.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even have any. I was in grade 11. So
Mm.
I sent through an application. They shortlisted, took whoever they took. Then from the fast forward, I think months later, this guy decided to call me and says, Teboho, I wanna see you. Come through and see us, and stuff. So at the time I had never been in Sandton, I'd never been anywhere. outside, let's say, of where I grew up, particularly with, besides how Baholo, or you
Yes.
go on a school trip and stuff. So they
Yes.
invited me to an office in Ilovo.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a struggle. It's an entire story how I even got there. But hey,
To get there.
I got
Yeah.
there, yes, but I got there. So then this guy said to me, now I was fascinated by our requirements were clear. It was metric, A plus and N plus.
Mm.
So you don't even have metric. You are still in grade 11. So, but however, you want to, you have applied. Why did you apply?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I got this, but I said to this guy, no, because I believe qualification is nothing but a piece of paper. So,
Yeah.
I've got the experience and I can take on their technicians, qualified or not, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I had such a big mouth, strange
Yeah.
enough.
That's
And this guy,
confidence.
it was, and I
Yes.
can, and then I don't even know where I even got that confidence because my situation was against me. Do you understand?
Right.
So, I mean, my background didn't even allow me to be confident.
Yeah.
I even struggled to even have money to get to that interview.
Yeah.
And the guy said to me, I remember he even asked me to say, can you drive? Do you have a driver's license? I couldn't even drive. I just
Mm.
said, so because I refused to say I do not know,
I don't know. Yes.
So, yes. So, and he decided to say, no, I can give you an opportunity um, to learn and be part of our team, you know? So,
Uh-huh.
and I think at the time I had to evaluate what's important for me. School work. I was like, no, school can wait. Let me go
Okay.
work because the situation was bad at home.
Yes. Yes.
So, and I did to go work. So, but obviously I promised them to say, no, I'll go to school, um, to go finish up school. So
Yes.
then from there, I started working. I remember first day when I walked in there, there was young girls and boys driving
Yeah.
in and out, Kadi Kosa Lidu Uno,
Yes. Yes.
and, for me, obviously it was, I come from a township, where it's raw poverty. The only thing you see, or the only people you see with cars and whatever, they're thugs,
Yeah.
and now there's young people doing well. I mean, it's a contact center environment. It's an IT contact center,
Mm. Mm.
where the log calls, we try to assist them online. If we can't, we go to site. So it was
Yes.
really, for me, it gave me that exposure, that I think
Uh-huh.
I needed. Then, I mean, I got to stay there,
Yeah.
as well, because they had apartments not far from there. But now they
Okay.
said that this thing happened was that when now the company was bought by a company called America Online.
Mm.
So I had an opportunity to go to Australia, to go work there and learn more. But now guess
Ah.
what? I didn't have
Yes.
the right qualification because now I forgot what I needed to go back to school. Now I was now
Right.
enjoying to live.
Right. Yeah.
So, I was now enjoying to drive, and all of those things that I missed out on an opportunity. And guess what? I had to go back to the very same township that I
Uh-huh.
came out of,
Uh-huh.
go back to
Uh-huh.
the very same house,
Right. Right.
so it was really bad, that it was embarrassing. And now even the neighbors, when they were rebuking their kids or calling them to order, "Hore, la le tla tshwana le yena," so you
Don't be
end up
like
just like him. Don't be like him,
go to school.
I will go to school. so
I know
I was
that.
a,
Know
so I
that
was a
very
perfect
well. Yeah.
I was a perfect example
You're
of
an
what not to
example
be.
of what not to do.
mm.
Oh
She was refusing
no.
to listen. So now he's back here, no school, nothing, no job. Mm.
Wow.
'Cause,
Okay.
and I didn't know Hori at the time. I was refusing to stay down. I think in the midst of that,
Mm.
then I started fixing library computers,
Mm.
the local school computers and stuff. Then in the midst of doing all of that, news came that
Yeah.
the late Mama Adelaide Tambo, in
Mm-hmm.
partnership with Social Development,
Yes.
they're gonna start a new concept called development centers.
Right.
So, and at the time where I come from, because I grew up in Wadville, Benoni. So
Yes.
it's where the late O.R. Tambo as well comes from. They used to stay there once upon a time. So
Mm-hmm.
Adelaide Tambo felt obligated to say every year, he'd go give people December hampers,
Right.
mealy meal and this and that. So
Yes.
when obviously they started this, so we were one of the first places that he wanted to start those development centers.
Mm-hmm.
So then from there they were looking. So part of that, they was the slogan was to alleviate poverty alleviation, or to
Okay.
alleviate poverty. Yeah. So now they wanted to as well introduce empowering people with computers. So they had gotten a sponsorship to set up a computer center lab there.
Mm-hmm.
So now they did that. They set up offices. They done all of that. So now, but now the problem was then who was going to teach these people on how
Aha.
to fix computers,
Right.
and I then put an application to say, hey, I'm a computer
I'm here.
specialist,
Yes.
I'm experienced and this and this and this, but no, you don't have a qualification in this. So I was like, can I be given a chance? So I was invited for an interview. The interview I made it. Guess what? There were other people that did computer science engineering there,
Yes.
and this and that. But I guess because I could sell myself, so then I was also
Mm.
shortlisted. So we were chosen amongst two of us that I think were top candidates to
Yes.
say amongst the two of you, you each person needs to go train a class. They had two classes. There was a morning class and an afternoon class. So
Mm.
then from there, I was given the morning class on day one. Then
Okay.
from the day two, the afternoon class. So then from the other person was given the afternoon class and day two the morning class. So it was
Yes.
vice versa. So now I
Yes.
had to teach the one class. Then the following day I had to teach the very same class that she taught, so
Okay.
that the students could be the one that make the judgment or the call to say who's a better teacher or who could teach better.
Yeah.
So this friend of mine, I didn't know her at the time.
Yeah.
So got in. Obviously, he had big books. He's a computer science engineer. Was
Mm-hmm.
teaching people and this and this and this and that. So with me, I simplified it. So when I go to class, I remember I had this. I had to teach them to say, okay, what were you guys taught, so that I can continue from there. They're like, no, you start from scratch. We want to see how you teach. So literally, I
Okay.
had to teach them from even a simple thing as a mouse. To say, this thing, it's called a mouse, but people find it so complicated. So the best way to learn is to learn to right click, left click, right
Yes.
click, left click.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and I'd do these rhyming songs, that they
Yeah.
would, and you would actually grow into it. So I had even some of the old people that were loving it and they were enjoying it and they actually learned. So
So
needless to say that,
yeah.
yeah.
So there you were without a qualification. You were
Mm,
amongst people who were qualified, people who studied
mm,
IT and
mm,
computers,
mm,
and you were
absolutely.
a facilitator, a lecturer with them.
Mm.
Wow.
Yes, no, I was.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I was. It was quite fascinating,
Mm.
and I think for me, I could, because I had the practical experience. So then I think I knew from a layman's person what would they need to learn for them to
I
become good at
see. I
this.
see.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So I could give them the background and this and that, and I mean at
Yeah.
the time, I was being paid I think 1,250.
All right.
So then 3 months later, I was promoted to becoming IT center manager. I was paid 2005. Bought my first house.
All
So
right.
because at the time, okay, well, let's go cuckoo.
Yeah.
So then where I come from, boys they the first thing they buy is cars and put the backyard rooms, and so
Yeah.
that they could host parties or bring girls or whatever. So for me,
Yeah.
I bought a house, even in a neighborhood that I've never been there. I
Yeah.
knew no one, but I remember my first house was 70,000,
Yes.
at the time.
Yeah.
So then from there, I bought my house. Then from there, I really worked. But now the most interesting thing that the people that I was teaching They were going out to get jobs in banks, going out to get jobs, in Department of Education. They were really getting, becoming, important people in society. And
Yes.
I kept on being here, doing right, right click, left click,
Right click, right.
and
Yes, yeah.
hey,
It's the job of a
and
teacher. You see us through to
yeah,
the other side, and yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. But for me, I felt that it is not enough. Then I remember one time, um, I drove. I was going to this time I had bought a car, so I
Mm-hmm.
was driving in Isando. I saw this beautiful company. Then I stopped. Then when I stopped, then the person at security asked me to say, "Where you going?" God,
Yeah.
what do you mean where I'm going? I'm the new manager here. So so the guy
Your
opened the
confidence
gate. Yes.
was on higher levels.
No, no, no. My confidence
Yeah.
was on high levels. The guy
And still
opened the
is.
gate.
Yes. Go
Yeah.
on, sorry.
So then from there, I went in. So
Yeah.
now the reception came out angry to say they didn't. Apparently, they're supposed to call to say there's someone at the gate to check who you have an appointment with, and blah
Right.
blah. So when the lady came out angry to say this, I apologize. I was like, no, sorry, ma'am. I'm the one that told him I'm the new manager here, so he opened for me. It was not at
Okay.
fault. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then from there, I said, no, my name is Teboho Mafodi. And I became honest. I was passing, I saw this beautiful company. Then I thought, let me stop and see what opportunities can one explore within this company.
Yes.
Then he
Yeah.
says, who sent you? I said, no one.
Yeah.
Then from there, the manager, then he says, no, he called the manager. So the manager at the time, you know, he came and he saw me. I did the same. My name is Teboho. I came to see what opportunities can one explore in this company. Then he asked me, who sent you? I said, no one. He
No
says, no,
one.
it's impossible. Then how would you then just come here? You
Yeah.
know, I linked this later. She said, it's important to understand the importance of spirituality because I didn't know or understood why I even stopped at the but I did. And
Uh-huh.
guess what? Coincidentally, they were looking for a night shift warehouse manager and a day shift warehouse manager.
Okay.
So a guy named Seppo, who was their night shift warehouse manager, because he was so good, they were going to promote him to become day shift. So they
Okay.
needed somebody to replace him,
Yeah.
or to stand in the gap. And they couldn't
Okay.
find somebody. They were still looking for somebody.
Yeah.
And here am I rocking up randomly.
Yes. Yes.
So then give me your CV. I don't know where the heck did I even had my CV or what was I doing with it,
But
but
we
I
had it
had
with
it.
you. Okay.
Yes. So then I gave him to say I'm currently a computer trainer and a center manager. So and I've been doing these courses as well while I was there. So
Yes.
that at least helped beef up my CV a bit. And he says,
Yes.
no, if you want the job, then I can employ you, but if you're starting today or you're starting immediately. So I was like, no, I will start. Then guess what? I
I will
didn't
start
go
like
home. I
now.
stayed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
They
wow.
gave me orientation or whatever. So then from I think it was around about 4. Then at 6 the shift was starting. So then from there, obviously I had to meet Seppo as well and the other guy so that he teaches me as to what he was doing in the likes.
Uh-huh.
And interesting enough is the company name was DHL. At the time it
Okay.
was DHL Excel.
I
And
see.
yes, and their client at the time it was a company called the Real Beverage Company. So my
Uh-huh.
job was literally to supply the whole of South Africa with juice.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So at the time, I mean, I couldn't even spell logistics, but I had gotten this job as this night
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
shift warehouse manager
Yeah.
doing logistics. So, I mean, I did that. So now I would knock off, obviously, would get there, pick the stock, I'd do the invoicing, make sure the stock is picked, and do a trip sheet. I remember when I was starting, I messed it up. I would take, let's say, if ever it's spas or checkers or whatever in one town. Then I'll
Yeah.
send them to another town to come back to the same town but but because the guys were experienced. So
Yeah.
they would say, no, but it doesn't make sense. So they would then discard my trip sheet and do their own, trip into, okay, now we're going to another town. Then they will do that. Then, I mean, I had to learn,
Yeah.
And so when I knock off at 1, 2, then I'd go sleep. Then
Uh-huh.
from there, at 8, I'd have to go. 7 o'clock, wake up at 8, go start at my training job. So now I was working 2
So
jobs,
now you are holding two positions. Yes.
Yes. So then I
Yeah.
had to speak to my bosses, at the day job to say, can I now, when I finish my classes at 2, so can I then go home instead of, knocking off at 4?
Yeah.
I wouldn't take lunch, I wouldn't take tea break so that I can squeeze in my classes as well. So that, literally, so now, but now I worked, and it got to a point, even now, that money, working 2 jobs, was
Yeah.
not enough,
Still not enough. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I was working 2 jobs to still remain broke.
Yeah.
So then I had now DHL in
Hmm.
Boksburg,
Mm.
a bigger DHL advertised the post.
Yeah.
They were looking for a shift manager.
Yeah.
Then let me tell you, even when I got to the gate for the interview, the security was so impressed. And when he was calling them, says, our new manager is here. Now I was no longer saying I'm the manager. People were now
Yeah.
saying our new manager is here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got there. But on the interview, I was putting on a good show.
I was going
You
to
know,
say, you know what, you just need to be in there and then giving your pitch and they will be sold.
Absolutely, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I did. But
Yeah.
let me tell
Yeah.
you where I messed it up. The
Yeah.
importance of not
Oh,
knowing or understanding your worth. So now
right.
I've done the interview. Now we're done. So at the end, they were like, "No, so tell us how much do you want?" You know? So
Ah,
then from there I looked, okay, my day job, I'm earning about 3.5,
yeah.
so my night job, I'm earning about 4 point something, so I don't even get to exceed 10,000, so whatever. So here, because it's closer to home and this and this, and I looked at it from that context,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I said to them, no, guys, I can take 12,000. Let
Okay.
me tell you, people switched off. Literally, they closed their books. Boom, 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 boom. No, thank you
Yeah.
for coming. It was good having you. What. I saw something is wrong. Then I asked to say, what is wrong? I can
What?
see something, So this guy says, can I give you constructive criticism?
Okay.
He says the least you could have done is to Google to check how much shift managers earn.
Yeah.
So our budget for this job is at least 35,000. So when I only want 12,000, he says, Teboho, we need to pay you for stress. There's somebody that's going to call you 10 minutes, 30 minutes before the shift to say they're unable to come because of whatever. Then you would need to go to
Ah,
go find or negotiate with someone to come in on that. And
yes.
there's sometimes the employees don't want to work. You need to be upselling to them or motivating them, whatever. It's
Yes.
quite a stressful job, so therefore we need to pay you for stress.
Mm.
If you had said 25,000 or whatever, it's something else. But you want 12,000, so then definitely this is not a job for you. And I
Yeah.
didn't know at the time that people could value your level of expertise by how much you want, eh?
I
So
see. I see. I
and and
see.
and for me, that's how I lost out on that opportunity.
So why is it like that? Or like we undersell ourselves because we don't want to appear as if demanding, or we want to be liked that way or to be picked. So we
Yeah.
undersell ourselves, not knowing that actually you are doing the opposite.
Is it?
So
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, Livio, you're asking a good question.
yeah, yeah,
So, and with that said, I mean, the reason we undersell ourselves half of the time it's because remember, with us black people, we don't lend money from home. We don't discuss money on our dinner tables.
yeah,
So we
yeah,
actually lend money go strategy. I lent
yes,
money go strategy. Do you understand?
yeah,
So
yeah,
therefore, I mean, even to sometimes at that next time, I mean, at that time, I was even earning better than my parents maybe were earning or whatever. Do you understand? But because it's not a conversation that we have, therefore we don't get to understand even our value, our worth. That's why half of the time you look at our black brothers and sisters. The minute we in a discussion, let's say you're looking for a job or whatever, take notice, whether with you or with other people. The
right,
minute they ask you how much you want, what do we do? We start swallowing, our saliva, our breathing
Yeah.
pattern starts changing. Then
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
maybe we start laughing even when it's not funny,
Yeah. Throw in a giggle. So you're
yes, throwing a
nervous.
giggle.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So we start doing all of those things because the
Mm,
conversation of money, it's a conversation that is uncomfortable to us.
yes. Yeah.
Do you
It's
understand?
not familiar. It's not.
It's
Yeah.
not a familiar
Yeah.
conversation.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And right now, where else with our counterparts? They used to the discussion of money. They used to the discussion of confidence. Do you understand? So then to
Right.
them, that's where they get most serious because it's not a laughing stock.
Right.
The minute I started learning and I became wary of those things, I started becoming unapologetic about what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, recently I was reading a report that some of the executives for Rand Merchant,
Yeah.
these guys easily earn 20, 30 million, 40 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
So include, with their packages, which include incentives and this and that. Do you
Yeah.
understand? So
Yeah.
that obviously, and right now, you could imagine to say what conversations are they having. You could imagine at that level, they
Yes.
earning that much. But so when you get there, or no, 600,000 could work,
Mm.
or
Yeah.
no, if I can just get 1.2 million, or
Yeah.
how much you guys offering. Do you
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So sometimes those things are easier if ever then you've got an agent negotiating for you. But if you
Right.
don't, you've got yourself. Then what?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so so it's really those things that I've really gotten to learn to say there's even CEOs and COOs,
Yeah.
that are earning, let's say 800,000, a million, a million five. Do you understand? So
Mm.
where else then there's people within multinational companies, that are juniors
Mm.
earning maybe your 2.4, they're earning more than CEOs and this and that. So
Yeah.
then it is a question of that what? Is it a title that matters, or is it, and the value that you bring to the business, or what is it? We are all appealing, or different things are appealing to us. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really those things that I've realized that we have really a long conversation to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
So and
Yeah.
right now, there's even issues of things like your management buy-in that we
Yes.
do not understand.
That we do
That you
not.
could actually
Yeah.
buy into a business
Yeah.
using sweat equity.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the business that I bought into that business using sweat equity. So
On
I didn't have money to actually buy shares into a business or buy into a business.
right.
But I had
On
the
that
skill
note.
sets that
Yes.
I could use to buy into a
Yes.
business.
Yes. On that note, I would like us to now fast forward to when now you started your first official business. This is now your registered company or your business. When you got to that point, take us through that.
Oh, okay. How I registered, or when I registered my first
When
business?
yes, when you now started your first, now when you're officially on your own, I don't know, in
Okay.
partnership or by yourself, but starting now
Mm.
your first business now, not now as an
Okay.
employee. Yes.
Okay. So fast forward, later years when I was
Mm.
now in business,
Yeah.
I had gotten tired of I think being employed. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
and what I had done, I had now I was working actually in the Free State,
Okay.
as a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
So and I always say it took nobodies to discover the potential I had.
Mm-hmm.
Those old mamas, Baranang di Crash and them, they're the ones that actually said, but Wanaka, you're so good at this. Why aren't you doing this in your own business?
Ah.
So I
Mm.
remember when I left the Free State, Kokorodstad, I actually
Mm.
made them a promise to say, by the time I come back, I'll be running my own business.
Okay.
So I came back, started a business called TNT IT Solutions. Because remember,
Yes.
I've always been good at IT, yes.
Yes. Yes.
So I had a friend of mine, Teboho.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Linda was Teboho. So we started TNT IT Solutions.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, but now the most interesting thing is, okay, then I would start obviously marketing to clients and this and this and that. Would
Yeah.
get business maybe to fix computers and whatever. But now the most interesting thing then, now when I needed to go withdraw money, I need this guy, to
You
come
want
with me, to
Teboho to
come
go with
withdraw
you.
money.
Okay. Okay.
Whereas at that time, this guy was employed somewhere. So he was not full time on the business. Now he's full
Uh,
time on the business.
okay.
So sometimes he would not know where did the money come from. But I would need him for him to sign for me to access my money.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
now it got to a point now I was even paying him to become a director in my business or for me to access my money. It's like I
Okay.
needed to compensate him for that.
Okay.
So then in the midst of that, so now one time I got a client that wanted me to do a website for them.
Okay.
So I had never done a website in my life,
Mm.
and let alone knew how,
Mm.
but yeah, now fast forward almost a year and a half back before that particular incident, I was listening to a radio interview on Metro FM,
Yes.
and there was these two young boys, Zubusiso and Neo, who
Mm-hmm.
were talking about, and they were running an IT company and this and this. They were doing digital marketing and whatever. I mean, I didn't know what that was. So,
Okay.
and they happened to have given out their number.
Yeah.
So I took the number, then saved it on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So then from there now, fast forward to now a year and a half later, it's now I'm sitting in this incident with this client that
Private
wanted me to
client.
deliver that
Yes.
for them. Yes. So
Yes.
now I didn't know how, but I didn't say to the client, I do not know, I don't have those expertise. I always had the thing, I'll find out how it's done. You know. So then after I left the client, then I made a phone call to these guys to say, listen, my name is so and so. I've got a client that needs this service. I'm not offering the service. You guys are offering the service. So
Right.
therefore, can I source it out to you guys for you to do it? Then I know it's fine. We agreed on a date and I set up the meeting. So on
Uh-huh.
the day then the guy was supposed to come. Actually, their partner was supposed to come.
Yes.
And it's a guy called Gaz. Gaz
Uh-huh.
was supposed to come. So coincidentally, they break into the guy's house.
Oh.
So then from there, the morning comes, so the guy can no longer come. Then the guy says, no, listen, my partner is coming. It's the very same guy that you heard on radio that will come and accompany you to the meeting. So
Okay.
then you guys can go see the client sharp. And we met at Lakeside Mall. Then from there we drove. So
Yes.
when we got there, the guy. Oh wait, let me tell you the first. So when we got there, so now I've parked. The guy drives in here. At the time I was driving, no Sanzano Kennedy, the one series. So the
Yeah.
guy drives in. He's on the phone, surround sound.
Yes.
So then from there, I said to him, no, it's fine. You can leave your car and we can go to my car. Then we'll drive to the client. We don't need to use the two cars so that we're able to talk on the car.
All
Then this
right.
guy asked me, so wait, what are you driving? So then I start point out this green Corsa that is parked there, you
Yeah.
know. Then from there, this guy says, no, you lock your car. We're driving in my car.
We can't show up at the clients in your Corsa.
Hey, like, no, we can't be,
Yeah.
it can't be downgrading me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we went to go see this client.
Okay.
So got there, introduced him, so and I wonder where that guy is, hey? So the
Yeah.
guy that we called the meeting, because the most interesting thing happened. I remember when we got there, we both noticed that on the guy's desk there was a Bible,
A
you
Bible.
know.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got there and they spoke and whatever. So this guy says, dude, you're doing most of the talking. You seem to be the one that's knowing the story. How does the Teboho fit into all of this?
Yes. Yes.
So then he says, no, so the guy said, they didn't embarrass me. No, he says, no, Teboho runs his own business. So as and when he gets this service, then he comes to us, we'll execute
All right.
on his behalf and stuff, K sharp. So then after the meeting, at the time there was Mzegezeg. So he was
Yes.
singing about this God Nthoana, God Davidson,
Yeah.
So then I started telling Zubusiso about it. He says, yeah, I know. He says, no, I want to try out the God that Mzegezeg sings about.
Yeah.
He's like, no, it's fine. We went to go buy Goddess. Literally,
Yeah.
the guy phoned his office. He canceled all his meetings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember when we were eating there, he sat down with me and he says to me, so tell me, you not even a business,
Mm-hmm.
you're a sole proprietor. You are
Yeah.
practically a merchant.
Right.
Why, as an individual like yourself, come to big business like us and want us to do business for you or do work for you?
Yeah.
You know,
Right. Yes.
my big mouth again. I said to him, I believe for you to be the best, you need to be associated with the best. So obviously, you guys are regarded the best at what you do. So that's why I want to be associated with you guys.
Right.
And this guy was fascinated by that. Then this guy asked me to say, "What do you want?" I
Uh-huh.
said, "No, I want to be a millionaire by the age of 35."
Yes.
He says, "You want to be a millionaire by when?" He says, "By the age of 35."
Right.
He says, "Then why do you want to be a millionaire then when you could be a millionaire now?"
How old were you then?
I mean, at the time, I think I was 20, I was 21, 22.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So
Yeah.
why do you want to be a millionaire then when you can be a millionaire now? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
guys, I come from the township. I come from status poverty. So we don't talk like that,
We don't talk
you know?
millions. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
So he asked me to say, "Tell me, do you sit and do you have money?" Okay, what do you mean I've got money? Do you have, maybe, would you work and maybe just have 10,000 or something? Okay, no. I've got enough to pay my bonds, I'd
Yes.
make enough to survive and this and this and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then then this guy, I think, as he kept on asking me question, he was
Yeah.
fascinated by some of the answers that I gave him.
Okay.
So, and sometimes, somehow, Linda, I mean, I thought they were the best answers. And
Okay. Okay.
I sit back now, I'm thinking to myself, I was such an idiot. So, so, so yeah, I was just an overconfident idiot. But I guess that worked for me.
Overzealous.
Hmm?
Yes. 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 It did.
Hmm.
But
So,
weren't you feeling it uncomfortable now when he is integrating you about how much money you have since you want to be a
I
millionaire?
mean, I was,
A little bit,
but
yeah.
remember, yes, I mean, remember, I had given myself 15 years, timeline to become a millionaire. I mean, I was
Right.
21, 22,
All right.
at the time. And then now, yeah, is changing my perspective when he says you could be a millionaire now.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
I asked him to say, but how? Teach me.
Okay.
He says, what's the difference between me and you? I said, what? He says, now I make millions sitting on my bed. When are you all over the show making peanuts?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
That blew me away.
Say that again.
That he says to me, what's the difference between me and you? I said, no. He says, the difference between me and you is that I make millions sitting on my bed.
Uh-huh.
When I am, you all over the show but making peanuts.
Making peanuts. Wow.
Hmm. You know,
And he was right.
so
Yeah.
no, he was very right.
Oh my word. Yeah.
Then I said, teach me. Then he says, no, I will teach you, but
Mm.
before I teach you, I need to teach you my God. I was like, no,
Uh-huh.
nah, go to church. Kikena Roma, I'm an altar server, senior altar server.
Yeah.
I grew up in church. And you know how politicians give you their struggles credentials. Hmm?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
yeah, so then I was giving him my church credentials.
Laying them out. I'm a Christian.
you know,
Yes.
yes, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
So and he says to me, no, I mean being intimate with God, having a relationship with God. I'm not talking about church.
Mm-hmm.
So and obviously, fast forward later, I had to leave my business
Okay.
to serve the guy, to work with him.
Work with him.
Or
Okay.
to work for him, yes.
Work for him. Okay.
So I started driving the guy to meetings. I would drive my Corsa to his house, then leave
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
car, then get into his BM and drive him to meetings. So obviously, he had his surround sound
Yeah.
whenever he's on the phone. So let's speak about hosting. And this guy he's such a negotiator. He's a good businessman.
Right. Right.
I'm not surprised he's where he is today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then from there, obviously, would work.
Yeah.
So then I'll ask him questions whenever he
Yeah.
hangs up. So what is this? What is this? What is this?
Yeah.
You know? So, and he was more than gladly to explain, to say, you know, this is how internet works. You know, this is how this works. This is this, you know? So,
Yeah.
and at the time I remember he had just acquired a big client.
Okay.
So, and the receptionist resigned with
Yes.
immediate effect.
Yes.
So he couldn't have now started doing recruitment processes and whatsoever. Then I said, no, I'll stand in. He says to me, but you're a man. I was like, yeah, but I'm a man who knows computers. I'm a man who drives, you know, and this and that, you know. So
And I
then
can
I think it'd be a
talk to
perfect
people.
fit.
Yes.
Yes. So then from this, says, no, it's fine. He gave me an opportunity, you know. Then I started as a receptionist. Then, I mean, hardly 4 months later, I was employing my own receptionist, who was my friend's wife at the time,
Okay.
you know. Then from there, which was my first West employee,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because she came with so much entitlement, you know, and now obviously
Yeah.
or you know this and this
Yeah.
and this, and you know
Yeah.
somebody is refusing to be teachable. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was bad at the time, but hey, you know, it was, I guess, the nature of it. So yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it was that time, you know. So, and I became a project manager in the business, you know,
Yes.
and the one time I went out without them knowing. In fact, the client called to want or to requiring our services, you know.
Right.
So I actually now went out to go pitch to that client, you know,
Mm-hmm.
make a proposal and stuff, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, so and got the client, you know. So I guess obviously that was my first you know, entry to business, now obviously at a different level, at a different league.
I see.
Yes, you know, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, fast forward later, I mean, the very same client, that's the very same client that helped become my very first client in my business.
In your
You
business.
know,
Yeah.
yes, that's the very same client that helped me, I mean, acquire more clients. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so in the space. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it was really I think an interesting time
So
at the time, because I mean at this
yes.
time the social media was new and we were
Yes.
taking brands to social media. So,
Yes.
and I mean obviously we're doing digital marketing. So
Wow.
and obviously because I didn't have the relevant experience, but obviously I knew the lingo because I was working for the business that does that. So
Yes.
then from them, and then what I could do then is would source students that are in the space, you
Yes.
know, to
Yeah.
actually execute some of the work for me. You
Yes.
know, then from
Yes.
there, I'd be the one invoicing the client,
Right.
to for main services around that and stuff.
So your IT business now went on like that and grew like that,
Mm,
up until it didn't at one point,
yes, I mean,
and yeah.
yeah, I mean, it did so well.
Yeah.
I mean that at some point later years, I mean, we got an opportunity, you know, not understanding what you're signing. No?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So at the time, you know, we partnered with, there was, I had gone on a trade show,
Okay.
with DTI. So at the time, then I met this Jewish businessman who wanted to come do business in South Africa, and the like. So then from there, we started, you know, putting together agreements, you know, to actually start and the likes, you know.
Yeah.
So now, obviously, he wasn't a legal training. He was not born in South Africa. And he was not a legal
Okay.
South African. So
Okay.
therefore, you see, not understanding contracts and what you're signing. So at
Yes.
the time, I signed an agreement that we were buying into their business,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Yeah.
but I didn't. Little did I know that that the agreement that I was signing, they were actually acquiring our business, you know, and not only that they were acquiring our business, but
Yeah.
they had a restriction of trade clause.
Okay.
that restricted me to go out and start another business, because I could easily have started a business that would compete with my business,
But you
you
couldn't.
know.
Yeah.
So I couldn't, you know. So then from there, we started. I mean, this business called Youth to Green at the time.
Yes.
So, and this is a business where we wanted to build or get into green energy, because
Yes.
we knew like there's going to become a time like now when South Africa's problem is electricity. So we wanted to generate our own electricity,
But before you
you
went
know.
into that,
So,
yes, sorry. Before you went into that, how devastating was it for you now, Teboho, after signing this contract and now realizing, hey, this is happening. This is exactly what I'm in, and I
so
signed on it. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, at the time I was not aware, I must be honest, you know.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
was just excited that we're going to be doing this new exciting stuff, importing technology that we want to implement to South Africa, and the likes. So
Okay.
now, where it became devastating,
Mm.
it was then, I mean, at the time, I remember we went to Bella Bella, put together the community,
Okay.
we built a digester,
Okay.
bought a contractor from Cape Town, you know, to come build this digester for us. So we from the community, we took their pig waste because they were farmers,
Yeah.
you know. So we put it into a digester. So then with the digester, we could convert that gas into electricity. It was a biogas project,
All right.
you know. So we partnered with Department of Energy, Sanity, you know, and a couple of other stakeholders, you know, at the time. So therefore, then where I realized to say I'm screwed, it's now when I remember we obviously executed the project with our own money, but
Yeah.
obviously I had to sign surety for some of these things because I was the local legal, you know, player or registered
Yes.
player. So
Yes.
yes, but however, then came to banking, but we had shared power,
Yeah.
you know, because he used to fight, or what, you do not trust me, you know.
Mm.
So and yeah, it was that. So therefore, we had just gotten paid. So then from there, literally, I think the money lasted in our bank account for a week.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
guy cleaned us out. You
Oh
know,
no.
so guy screwed us, took the money, and actually,
And
he
left.
thought he was according to him, he said he was investing in another venture that's gonna give us money. You know, but literally, little did he know how he was investing in a venture that was run by Nigerian syndicates. You know, that were actually screwing him as well.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So he screwed us to
To
get
go
screwed.
to go get. Oh no.
You know,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, so he didn't
So
disappear.
therefore,
Yeah, he provided an explanation of what
no,
happened. Yeah.
yeah, he. I mean, at first, obviously, after he did disappear, but obviously, we found him. So,
Okay.
and now that's the explanation that he gave. You know,
Ah,
and
okay.
obviously, he had evidence to back it up or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but now, how do you get angry? You know. So,
Mm,
but now
mm,
the worst part is now I was left in this debt, you know, to
yeah.
say, I've got this big debt now that I'm left with, you know, it's a couple of millions.
Yes.
We owing the taxman, we owing everyone.
Yeah.
And that time government has promised the community the project. I mean, community have seen the project. So now, how do they keep us to still become part of the project? They can't.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had to go sit down and be honest with them to say, we got screwed. This is what happened. And this is where we're at.
Yeah.
So, and they said, no, but you understand, then we can no longer keep you. So then a
Yeah.
guy that we had brought to become a service provider or a subcontractor
Yeah.
ended up having to become the main contractor, because obviously he was the one that built the engine.
Right.
So he now had to be the one that we're heading up the project. So now other people had to be brought in to rescue the project so that the community could still get what was due or
What
what the government
what was
had promised at the
promised?
time.
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
So then now, when I was now trying to then go back to my business to run
Yeah.
my own IT business, that's when I
Yeah.
realized, what, there's a restriction, so I can't, you know. So,
Okay.
and guess what? The business that then I was owing, or that I
Yeah.
was owning, now I was no longer owning.
Owning.
You know,
Yes.
so now it was now owned by another entity. This entity that had gone over. So I would say I was a fictitious or a glorified director. You know
Okay.
how people put structures to seem
Yes.
like they're BE whatever. So it was
Yeah.
mainly something similar to that.
Yeah.
At the time, I didn't understand my fiduciary responsibilities. I didn't know fiduciary laws for me to understand,
Yeah.
my powers as, So I could literally say I was just wanted to make money, and I was fascinated or excited by being this millionaire. I think at
Yeah.
23 years at the time,
Yes.
So it was
Yeah.
really exciting times that I didn't understand. So it was really the school of hard knocks. I
Yeah.
learned the hard way.
Yeah. Nonetheless, you are now left with this debt, right? And you cannot now participate in your company. How do you pick yourself up afterwards? How do you now rebuild? Yeah.
At the time I remember I was sending CVs every week trying to get a job. On Wednesday, working Wednesday at the Star.
The
On
star.
Thursday,
I remember the star very well.
is
Yeah. Yeah. On
is
Wednesdays. Yeah.
and yes, or then on Thursdays, this newspaper. Maybe it's like the job something. you know,
Job mail. Yeah.
job made,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So then from the weekend, it's me and city president, like literally
On
sending out
Sunday.
CVs, nothing was going on. And
Yeah.
and I remember my friend at the time, who was also equally my partner, said to me, I see you busy trying to get a job. And has it occurred to you maybe, yeah, interesting enough, I'm saying this.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
says to me, has it occurred to you to say maybe God doesn't want you to go work? And when
Oh
are you
my
busy trying to
word.
get a job?
Oh.
So
Yeah.
maybe you should try. Maybe you should try again. You
Huh.
know. So and I decided to try again. And this time, because obviously of the 10-year restriction trade agreement
Yeah.
that or trade clause that was there. So
Yeah.
obviously I couldn't have started an IT company, and that's like the only thing I knew.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So now I started the construction company this time. So now what I wanted to do, because now I was exposed to partnering with businesses across the continent and across the globe. Then I took a technology. We partnered with a technology company in Australia, wanted to bring their technology to South Africa. Then to now, I wanted to become the core break of alternative building technology. You know,
Yeah.
so then from the we brought to that technology, then we wanted to build rapid houses. So
Yes.
instead of building using brick and mortar, using this, technology, we started with a technology called expanded polystyrene.
Okay.
We followed with a technology called structural and insulated panels.
Okay.
We even won the best green one building at Indaba,
Yes.
at the
Yeah.
building in Indaba,
Yeah.
so but now at the time, because in South Africa we don't adapt easily to change.
Yes.
So now part of that, now we needed to learn how to build, because people didn't know how to build using our technology. So
Yes.
now obviously we
This
had
was a
to
new
then now
thing.
learn to build. So it
Yes.
was a new thing.
Yes.
So then
Yes.
I got then introduced to the environmentally built space.
Yeah.
So which is now obviously building construction, project management, and the likes. And some of the construction projects that we would do it for property developers. you
Okay.
know, then obviously we got exposed to then property. So, but now interesting enough is that I've always been doing property on the side, but not knowing how I could actually turn this into a business. So,
Ah.
yeah, so then, I mean, we did all of those exciting stuff. So then from there, and then I think at the time, I remember we partnered. Remember we had partnered with an Australian company.
Yes.
So then from there, also partnered with an Israel company
Uh-huh.
that was in the space,
Yes.
So then from the in that case, that's how TM Group came from being, just one business,
Yes.
to become a TM Group of companies.
Yes. Yes.
So therefore, then I got introduced to container structures. All of these exciting way
The
of
shipping
building that were
containers.
unconventional. The shipping
Yes.
containers, yes.
Ah.
So now, because I was now experienced, obviously, in doing alternative energy. So I would now not only do alternative building, but we'll also do energy.
Yes.
So we started now, obviously, building these exciting businesses,
Yes.
under this business. So then from there, at the time, I became, obviously, through the partnership. So I became the African subsidiary.
Right.
So
Right.
then, I became the Africa CEO for TM Group of Companies.
Yes. Yes.
And if
Yes.
you actually check online, it's actually a Californian company. you
Uh-huh.
know.
Uh-huh.
So yes, that was made up by a company in Israel, company in Australia. So
Uh-huh.
to actually form TM Group.
I see.
So it was actually exciting time. So then got to do very exciting stuff in South
You
Africa and
you guys did
did
the
some very exciting
shipping.
projects.
Yeah, you did the shipping container apartments in Mabuning. You guys were.
Yes, it's a project called Drivelines. It's nine
Uh-huh.
stories,
Yes.
82 units, apartments. We
Yeah.
did. That even got to make
Interesting.
it to CNN.
Yes. Yes, it was
So
it was
it
an
was it was
innovation, something we had never seen here.
it
Yes.
absolutely it absolutely was, yes.
Wow.
And we did a lot of other projects within the African continent, in Zambia, Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
It was really exciting times that we did. We got to do army bases,
Uh-huh.
and we got to work with the UN, do mobile clinics,
Yes.
and using our technology and structures, because
Yes.
they were regarded temporary structures or movable structures.
Right.
That one time you could do a clinic in one town, another time you move the very same clinic to another town. So
Uh-huh.
it was exciting times, and it was interesting how other countries,
Mm.
and other parts of the world received us much better than in South Africa.
Is it?
You know, because
Yeah.
in South Africa, we did some exciting projects in South Africa, but now I've realized South Africa, we always had to argue with political structures
I
or
see.
political whatever, because I can remember the minute we come in, we're introducing something that is not conventional, therefore they
Yes.
cannot eat.
Yes.
And
Ah.
with what we're introducing, so we could go outside of tendering lines,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
so
Yes.
become in a specialized contractors.
Right.
So therefore, obviously, politicians eat through tenders, through this and that.
Mm,
And
mm,
obviously, the
mm.
minute they would come to us, they would want to obviously eat. I was not the only controlling part. I was just the Africa CEO, but obviously I had
Yes.
to run everything through obviously the main business.
Yes. Yes.
So, which obviously it meant there's other people that were involved. So therefore they couldn't eat through me, or they couldn't do this and that. So therefore they would shut their doors.
Ah, I
It
see.
would be other CEOs and other organizations at least that are much more open, you
Yeah.
know, to what we're bringing to the market, that they'd give us a chance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So and that's how we actually got to do some of the exciting stuff that we got to do. But
Wow.
obviously it's a capital intense business, and
Yeah.
it was a capital intense industry. So without the right balance sheet, you won't be able to obviously grow further.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with that, I managed to acquire an architectural firm that we had to obviously, um, as opposed to us working with different architectural firms, we started acquiring architectural firms. I started acquiring an engineering firm, so that we become a turnkey solutions, so that
Okay.
we have all of these services under the same building or under the
And
same house.
yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
whichever business that gets business, it's still coming to us anyway.
Uh huh.
So
Ah.
it was really it really became really exciting
y-
times that want to really lead the organization.
A conglomerate.
Actually to yes,
Uh
and
huh.
to grow obviously from a multi-million, portfolio, now getting to the billion,
Yes.
portfolio and
Yes.
asset under management. Therefore, we also started a facilities and asset management businesses that now we could not only look after our own assets, but
Yeah.
some of other people's assets as well from a facilities point of view.
Right.
So which further grown our asset base, our asset class. It exposed us to other industries, and I mean, it also grown obviously our asset value,
Mm.
with assets under management, which it was really an exciting time for me, I must say, and my career as a whole. And while I
Mm.
was doing all of that as well, I saw the need to go back to school to
I
actually
was gonna.
study, because now
Yes.
I was now getting into complicated things,
I,
agreements and this and that.
I, I
So
was
this
just
thing
going to
of now
ask you.
surviving mode, it was
Yes.
key.
Yes, I was just going to ask you about that. That you recently graduated with your MBA a few months back.
Hmm.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Huge
it was in
congratulations.
April.
Yes.
Yes, thank
Because,
you very
because,
much.
because, I mean,
Hmm.
I'm thinking one might ask, Teboho, you already are a successful businessman, and now you have to go back to school to do business studies. I mean, such a challenging
Hmm.
program. Aren't you busy enough? Why did you do it? So I just needed to know what is the importance of education and sharpening one's knowledge in entrepreneurship.
Okay. I
Mm,
must be honest to you,
mm,
before to say,
mm,
with that, I had serious struggles. I'm not gonna lie.
mm.
As much as I've been doing exciting stuff, equally
Right.
so I've been screwed. Equally so I've been embarrassed.
Mm,
And equally so, do you understand? I've been in rooms, or even at the golf pitch with people that were well informed, well educated. Do you
okay.
understand? That knew how to structure deals, that knew how to interpret balance sheets,
Yeah.
financial statements,
Mm,
your income
mm.
and
Yeah.
income expenditures,
Yes.
so
Yes.
and at the time it's something else. You want to grow this business, do you understand?
Mm,
So I mean, you don't even understand EBITDA, so it's one of those things that obviously you realize to say, I needed to change.
right.
I needed to either I do something, because now part of that acquiring these businesses, then
Yeah.
that came to obviously having to set in some of boardships of these businesses.
Yes.
Sorry, because
Yeah.
on the equal note, I got introduced to being in bonds.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, you could imagine sitting there with lawyers and accountants,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
sometimes you agree on things that don't make sense because you do not understand the language, you do not understand the formula, so you don't
Ah.
understand business and financial modeling, you know,
Yeah.
and things like that. And at the same time, I was paying so much money to consulting companies to help do due diligence, visibility
Ah.
studies, and this and
Mm,
that. Do you
mm,
understand? So
mm.
and now, obviously, in the midst of that, we've acquired good and bad deals,
Right.
and
Right.
some of the time we would even absorb some of the liabilities for these businesses.
Mm.
So therefore, I mean, the main office would say, but dude, for one transaction you'd put in so much money, and that also adds obviously to part of your working capital,
Yeah.
or down deposit on this business or whatever. So
Yeah.
therefore, before obviously you could even break even, you need to make first what you've invested into the business,
Yes.
for you to make even, and whatever, then which then it would even extend our investment tenure on some of
Yes.
these businesses. I mean,
Yes.
our key goal at the time was we don't invest into any businesses that we're not looking at breaking even at least within the first 3 to 5 years, or
Uh-huh.
let alone make profit. Do you
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So now we needed to then extend to 7 years, 8 years, and some of them do. So obviously the main business would offset themselves.
Mm.
Then from the with my equity to say no, when because you're the one that put together this deal, Rona will get our portion from you within the next so much time. When you work to earn your money, let's say within additional 2 years or within additional, So really, it was either I catch up, do you understand, or I get
Mm.
kicked out. So, and now you're realizing to say that now having to host some of his other professionals coming from other companies to come help negotiate some of these things that I could negotiate myself, So
I
then
see.
from there, I really had to then realize to say this thing of hating school,
Yeah.
to date, I hate school, but I had to step up and learn. And little did I know that I'd actually get to enjoy it and love it. I'm considering doing my second master's right now,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So because it's something that I got to grow up in, So it's really
Yeah.
for me that more than anything, for education has given me nothing but access,
Ah.
and I think it's an access that we take for granted, and it's an access that sometimes we don't know that would work to advantage to open up certain doors.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
now I sit on the boards that access has really helped me.
Yes.
So there's still
Yes.
some exciting stuff that I want to do now.
Yes.
The door no longer shuts because I'm a high school dropout.
Yes.
But now we change conversations. Do you
Right.
understand? Because at
Yes.
the time, I remember I even had people that wanted to employ me, because obviously I did this amazing experience. But then coming to now having to pay me, then from there they would not quantify to say, but why should we pay you 1 million?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always make this in the context of you look at your SABC. Cloud. Which other COO do you know besides Cloud? No one. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And it's not like he couldn't do the job. He could do the job to the T. Do you understand? But remember, look what works to his disadvantage. The fact that he had got an opportunity as he had worked and he was working, he could have
Yes.
just empowered himself and go to school, but he
Go to
didn't.
school. Yes. Yes.
Instead, it's exactly that worked against him. That now today he's no longer, and I
Yeah.
didn't obviously want to be, a cloudy, and I just wanted to obviously empower myself because I feel that even not only in our country but in the world, there's still so much value that I want to bring.
Right. Right.
And I can only bring that if I'm empowered enough to do that. Hence, even the Bible says, "Study and show yourself approved."
Wow. Teboho, is there any points that you can share for someone who is starting a business to be aware of in order to minimize risk when starting?
Yes, no, definitely. The one thing that I would say, to people out there, to say whatever you do when you're starting a business, interrogate a business model, have a business model. Do you understand? So we always jump into the opportunity of starting, but without really interrogating or having a proper business model. To say, I'm starting this business, but how am I actually making money? Or how is this business going to make money? Who is this business servicing? Right now you're looking at this time, this hour, or right now as we're speaking, where is your client right now? Describe to me your typical client. What is your client doing right now as we speak? Do you understand? What are they doing? What are they drinking? What are they eating? Do you understand? Or where would they most likely be? Do you understand? So if you cannot define your client to the T, then you're selling to no one. Do you understand? So this thing of saying no, I'm servicing everyone. No, you cannot service everyone. With you, even with your podcast, it shouldn't be chasing everyone. Do you understand? You should be able to define literally to the T, the kind of market that you're targeting and the
What
kind
is
of
your
person
market?
that you're targeting.
Right.
Yes. Therefore, in that case, the next thing you'd be able to know or understand what is it that you're communicating. Do you understand? Because the minute you understand the person that you're communicating, so then from the or who you're communicating to, you'll even understand what message to communicate to them. Because
100%.
maybe when you're busy making noise and the person you're communicating to doesn't even like noise, then what happens then? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's really that I've realized that to say it's important to really know and understand, that, and you can only do that once you understand your business model.
Right.
Put together or Google a business model canvas. So there's a business model canvas, then break it down.
Yes.
If you need to sit down with your accountability partner or a friend while you break down your business model, it speaks to what sets you apart, your unique selling proposition. To say if ever there's 10 people that are doing what you're doing, You know, why should people come to you, not
To
them?
me.
You know, what are you offering that are not, that they not offering? Do you understand? Do you understand? Or a simple thing like that that could either make or break your business. You know, so and another thing, there's what we call your strategy. To say, what is your strategy? You know, so right now, I mean, you look at the likes of your Nandos. You know,
Yes.
they use humor as their strategy. Do you understand? They use what is happening within current affairs and whatsoever as their strategy to what, you know, to market their business. And it's that humor that gets people talking and that gets society talking. And it's that very same humor, you know, that gives them the attention that they need or the attention that they want.
Right.
You know, and it's that humor that gets them the sales.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's really that really I've realized that it's so important. So it would be my advice to somebody that is starting to say, you know, find your voice, you know, and you can find your voice once you know your model, you know, and with that I've realized that it's the first key to actually start. Then obviously once we start, that would influence everything other else, which is your strategy, you know, to say then how do you go about speaking to that person, or how do
Right.
you go about accessing or getting to that person that you're speaking to actually pay attention that you're out there, or to actually pay attention that you're selling to them.
Teboho, so now, in closing, is there any book that is your favorite that was an eye opener for you that you could share with us to say, listen, as an aspirant, an entrepreneur, look out for this book. It helped me a great deal, or anyone that you are currently enjoying at the moment?
Yeah, I mean the book that I wasn't really into books, you know, but so the book that gave me extra, that introduced me to reading, it's a book called Who Moved My Cheese,
Who
you
moved my
know.
cheese?
Yes, so it's a book that deals with a way of changing environments within your workplace or within your life, you know. And it's a book that was published long time ago. I mean, you know, by Spencer Johnson in 1998. This is the book that actually introduced me you know, to entrepreneurship, and so
Yes.
because it gives an analogy of a rat, you know,
Yeah.
so which lives in a maze chasing cheese, you know. And I think out of the book, but the one book that really changed my life, you know, it was a book called South Africa's Greatest Entrepreneurs. So then yes, South Africa's Greatest Entrepreneurs. So
Entrepreneurs,
it
yes.
has the likes of, yes, it has the likes of your Herman Mashaba,
Okay.
and many others on how they started their businesses that they started, you know.
Yes.
So yes, it was written by a lady called Makura, you know, and out of the very same book, she wrote another book called Africa's Greatest Entrepreneurs. He started in South Africa, then did the African one, you
Africa,
know. So yes, Africa's Greatest Entrepreneurs.
entrepreneurs,
So
yes.
for me, yes, with that book, she managed to get insights with some of the most influential SA entrepreneurs. You know, how they started, why they started, what influenced them, their level of thinking in terms of starting those books. And
Yes.
for me, I think it was the best buy that could ever bought. You know, so
Yes.
then from there, obviously, because now I was familiar with the author and the style of writing, then I got the Africa's Greatest Entrepreneurs. So it's up
Yes.
to you to say which one do you want to start, the South African one or the African one, you know.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's really exciting, and for me to discover that there's some of these people that come from backgrounds like me and you,
Yes.
and that have managed to build billion-dollar businesses. You know, that have managed to build businesses for the continent, businesses that are influencing our day-to-day living and things like that. To say then, obviously, if they could do it, what's stopping you from doing? You know,
Yeah.
so it's really that, and these are some of the entrepreneurs that even to date, you know, they existing, they influencing our economy, they creating employment and the
Yes.
likes. Therefore, I think that's when for me I knew to say I really want to bring value into, you know, the continent. You
Yes.
know, I really want to help people say because of me they've managed to become. So even how the likes of your chicken licking started and many other businesses, I think people would really find it fascinating. So that's
Yes.
a book that you could really get in touch with and
Yes.
get to enjoy, hopefully.
Wow. Wonderful. Teboho, thank you. This has been amazing. It has been beautiful. Thank you for sharing your journey with us here at Match. We are really thankful for you to afford us your time and your insights. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you for having me. It's really been an exciting time, and I really pray and hope that you'd get success out of your podcast and all other
Oh,
entrepreneurs that you're gonna bring. I think in the future, so, and I'm
yeah,
hoping perhaps maybe the next time when we have discussions,
yeah,
let's discuss some of our failures that we do as entrepreneurs, because I've failed a lot,
yes, yeah,
as an entrepreneur, and important things like asset protection,
mm-hmm.
because we sometimes tend to think things like setting up asset protection or structures, they for the wealthy,
Yes,
where else the minute, let me say, you go through death or somebody dies,
yeah,
who suffers the most? Women suffer the most. Children suffer the most.
yeah,
Do you understand?
yeah,
So
yeah.
families suffer the most. The minute families divorce, they suffer the most
Oh,
because
yeah,
we are not properly structured. Do you understand?
yes,
To protect
yeah,
ourselves. But
yes,
however, I want us to come against the narrative. Yeah, how when somebody dies, rather business, yeah, we've never seen a business that goes inside the grave.
mm,
But
mm,
there's things, our businesses have been failing as Black people because we don't have the right successions.
mm-hmm.
We don't have the right proper structures that could
Yeah,
actually help us. I think this is something that I think would really be beneficial to our Black sisters and brothers out there, and they would really find benefit too.
we'll,
But thank you for the opportunity. Would
we'll
really
delve
appreciate.
into on the next one. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show and want to support us, please tell a friend to tell a friend about Mej. If you want to follow us on Twitter, our handle is @MejPodcast. My Entrepreneurship Journey on LinkedIn. Remember, we are available to listen to for free on whichever platform you listen to your podcast on, be it Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and so forth. I'm Teboho Nthoana, and you've been listening to My Entrepreneurship Journey.